Hi betting experts, and now we're going to have a look at the York Ebor Festival, which this year has a completely unique look to it. Starts on Wednesday the 19th of August. It's obviously a lot later in the calendar than usual. The prize money, those held up pretty well. Just looking through each day, £510,000 on offer on Wednesday, £675,000 on Thursday. We're up to £570,000 on Friday, and for the Ebor day itself, £560,000. So there's over £2.3 million. York have done really well. The track's sure to be in fantastic condition. It's the best run track in the country, in my opinion. The ground will be fast. The weather forecast is set fair, and it's a fascinating week of racing. We've got 5 pointers here to help punters hopefully make it a profitable 4 days. The first one, the effect of the draw. Now, York is always prepared immaculately for this meeting. They've had no racing hardly at all through the summer, so the track's in prime condition, fast ground certain, but there is often a discernible draw bias that astute punters will take into close consideration. On the straight course, over 5 and 6 furlongs, the runners tend to avoid either rail, racing generally speaking up the middle of the track, so runners drawn on the wing on either side, high or low, can be at a disadvantage. They'll either have to race with no cover alone, or will have to forfeit track position by ducking in behind. Now, on the round course, a low draw is a real priority at races up to a mile 4, particularly over the mile trip. I tend to think with that bend coming up so quickly, it's very difficult not to lose an awful lot of ground if you're parked out wide, so stick with low numbers. Point 2, speed is of the essence. York is completely flat track where the pace usually holds out on fast ground. That's not necessarily the case on soft ground where they can go for home too soon and finish well strung out, but on a fast ground, I think generally speaking, you want to be up with the pace, a front runner who can sustain a strong gallop all the way to the line. They tend not to come from very far off the pace there, so if you can find a well-drawn front runner with a low draw on the round course, that is a winning formula. Point 3, do not be afraid to look away from the obvious. York is a track where bookmakers in the past pay a lot of money for pitches to bet. It's a huge crowd. The punting action is traditionally fierce. Obviously this year we're racing behind closed doors because of the global pandemic. It's going to have a different feel, but they do get results here. Don't be scared of looking at second strings from the top yards rather than focusing on the ones that Dettori or Buick have chosen to ride up the front of the market. This particularly applies in handicaps where you can get some real outside boilovers away from the front of the market. It's mainly because of the huge fields, the big prize money and the competitive racing that it can be quite bookmaker friendly. It's certainly not a track for me to get drawn into backing horses at short prices. Point 4, previous course form can count for plenty. It's a unique set of circumstances at the height of summer this year on fast summer ground, and if they've run well at York in the past, they're worth sticking with. It's worth watching back the replays from the York meetings so far this season and over the last couple of years on the Racing TV archive, a brilliant service for punters. Not only will you be aware of horses that have won here with conditions to suit, but you'll spot horses who might have come from bad draws, out wide, high numbers, who might have run a lot better than the bare result, who are clearly suited by York, but it doesn't suggest that in the form book. If you can find a couple of those who are now better drawn on the round course in particular, they're well worth siding with. And finally, point 5, stick with following William Haggis and David O'Mara. Haggis, absolute genius. His strike rate is incredible this season. It's in the 30% at various stages. He's flying. He's got some wonderful 3-year-olds who are unexposed. He always targets this meeting with a handicapper or two and his group horses, and he has a terrific record. He's a Yorkshireman by birth, Haggis. He loves this meeting in particular. He will have laid out a really strong string. And David O'Mara, another local trainer this time, who's got a really good record this season in particular. I think he's the leading trainer so far at York, and his horses are flying at the moment, particularly in the handicaps. And don't be scared of his second string. He's got Danny Tudhope to ride his front ones, but also he can book claimers for his second or even third strings in some of these handicaps, and they're just the type to pop up at a big price. Best of luck on a cracking 4 days of action at the Ebor Festival, betting experts.